I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my live video stream so I can see myself not on delay and just say good afternoon everyone. Welcome to today's and this week's art lesson with Adam from Twinkl. So if you haven't already guessed, my name is Adam and I work for Twinkl. I've only been working for Twinkl for a short period of time. I've only just left teaching at the end of January and I was teaching for about 12 years altogether. I taught ages all the way down to 3, all the way up to 11, and lots of different needs in between then. And a lot of my experience was with younger children, but I have worked with the older children on occasion, and what I'm looking to do with today's art lesson is to gear it more towards Key Stage 2 children, if you like, those 7 and above. But again, I like to try and make sure wherever possible that my lessons are accessible for everyone. So it's not to say if you're younger than that, you can't take part. You just might need a little bit of help with some of the measuring if you're going to take part in the measuring part of this activity. For those older boys and girls, if you find some of the theory that we're going to do in this art lesson and the practice is too simple, try and challenge yourself to do more things like shading, using a mirror to look at yourself and your own reflection to really capture the detail and the different complexions of your skin. So, for today's art lesson, kind of already given it away, we're going to be doing some self-portraits. For today's lesson, the main things you're going to need. You are absolutely going to need some paper. Now, unfortunately, I can't find any of my white paper. I tidied up this morning before all of my lessons, so the kitchen was nice and tidy for my lessons, and I tidied it away so well, I can't find half of my paper or half of my colouring pencils. That good at tidying up. So, make sure you've got some paper, please. Mine's yellow. White would be preferable, but whatever paper you can get, the lighter, the better. You will, of course, need a pencil. We are going to be drawing. We're going to be sketching where we can. I have managed to find myself a 2B pencil. If you've got any type of pencil, it will enable you to do the lesson. If you have got one that you can do different types of shading with, I do recommend. It's a good idea. I've chosen and found a select few colouring pencils. I can't find my big packs. As I say, I managed to tidy up this morning and tidied away so well, I can't find my resources now. One thing that will be important, if you can, in order to do some of the accuracy and the measurements that we want to do, is I do recommend a ruler. Mine's a 30cm ruler. As sometimes this is a bit difficult to see because it's transparent, I have brought my tape measure with me, so we can still do the same measuring, but you'll be able to see the measurements I am doing. So what I'm going to do again, we did this last week, and I do this in a lot of my lessons, is I'm able to play around with the software I'm using. So I'm going to make myself on camera become really small. 3, 2, 1, zoom. Oop, too much. There we go, that's better. Now at the bottom of the screen. So what you'll be able to see now is the software I'm using. For those older boys and girls there, you may recognise the sort of technology this is. This is the sort of technology that game streamers use often to share the games they're playing, and you get to see them and interact with them at the same time. So, here's the Twinkl home landing page. I was searching for some art activities and ideas using some of our resources as a starting point. The art lesson next week is going to be a little bit different. You won't necessarily need much from the website, but I'll explain more at the end of the lesson. This is what we're going to be using for today's art lesson. It's more of a guide. You don't have to follow it to the letter, but if you do, if you are younger and you follow all the instructions on this, you will be able to do a nice, accurate self-portrait. For those of you who are a bit older, it is geared towards Key Stage 1 children, but it will just give us a guide to get started for then you to put your own artistic talent into it. And I've already downloaded it. So this is what it looks like. It goes through step by step what we are going to be doing in today's lesson and about the measurements. But I'm going to go through it, so you don't need to have this downloaded now. It's for you to refer to later if you wanted to do any work on your own. I'm just going to bring myself back now, so I'm full screen. So first things first. I've got my paper ready. I'm going to angle my camera down a little bit better now because you're going to be able to see what I'm doing more frequently. There we are. So I've got my piece of paper. I put it on a whiteboard because I can't hold a piece of paper upright, because as you can imagine, try and hold it upright, it just folds over. So mine's going to be on this board here so we can measure it. And we do want our paper to be portrait. So if you're not sure what that means, boys and girls, it means the shorter edge is at the bottom, but the longer edge is going upwards. So we're going to be holding it perfect. First step of our activity today is we need to draw an oval. Obviously, many of you might already know what an oval shape looks like, but it's going to be almost a flattened circle, and it wants to be flattened at the edges, not at the top, to give us the shape of a face. We're going to do this nice and lightly if we can. We're not going to press down too hard. Nice and gently around the paper. I will add, boys and girls, sometimes my drawings aren't fantastic. Doesn't matter. It's just the theory. We just want the faint shape that you're going to have here. We're going to have the oval shape. Let's give on a few moments to do that so we're all keeping up roughly together. I have to say at the moment, my oval shape is going to give me somewhat of a potato head, but we're going to be able to make corrections to this later. Now, what I am going to do is I've noticed that obviously the shape of mine at the moment is a little bit lumpy, a bit bumpy. So I'm going to neaten mine up. So I'm just going to sketch gently the shape that I want to have. I want to have a bit more of a rounded chin at the bottom. So I'm just going to sketch. And where I've gone out of the circle before, I'm just going to rub it away. I'm sorry, I haven't specified you might need a rubber for this. You don't actually have to do this step. I'm just rushing ever so slightly with my sketching as I'm on camera. Here we are. Bit of a better shape to the chin now. I can see here my cheek is sticking out somewhat a little bit there and not so much on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match it on this side. A little bit more sketching here. You have a look at yours, boys and girls, and see if you just need to change the shape of your oval as it stands. If you're happy with it, excellent, that's a good start. And up here as well, I've just got a bit of a odd shape at the top of my head, so I'm just going to sketch it a bit more. A little bit better. I'll just get rid of those lines just here. I have to say, this is very strange for me, everyone. I don't think I've ever done any drawing live for anybody. So, the next step that we're going to go on to. We're going to do some measuring now. We're going to measure the widest point at either side. First of all, I'll do it with my ruler. I do not think it's going to be the easiest thing for everyone to see. Let me see. No, we're not going to measure horizontally. We're going to measure vertically how tall it is. Here we are. So mine, 17 centimetres. You'll need to do the same now, boys and girls. Have a quick measure. There are only going to be very faint lines that we're going to draw in a moment. They're going to be very, very gentle so that we can rub them out if we need to. Ready, everybody? I'm going to come back up so you can see it on my camera now. Oof. There we are. So I've made sure it's in the middle, straight as I can make it. Don't worry if yours is not as accurate as others. And I know for a fact mine is 17 centimetres, but I'm going to draw a very, very gentle, faint line down the middle. So hopefully it's going to make it that bit easier to rub off. Give you a few moments to be doing this. Next, I'm going to measure from the top of the chin to the top of the head how long this line is. Mine is just about 17 centimetres. And half the 17 is 8.5. 8.5 centimetres. I'm going to make a little mark. Like so. You see mine? Just about right in the middle of our picture. We want to make sure we do these as accurate as possible, so that when we continue to do our sketching, our self-portraits, they are nice and accurate and centred for where we're going to place our nose, eyes and mouths. Okay, everyone. Next, we're going to draw a horizontal line. It wants to be as straight as we can, being horizontal, but it wants to go directly through that middle point that we've just measured. I'm going to line mine up now and very gently draw the horizontal line. Should look a little something like that. Once again, a little bit of time for everyone. Sorry if the lighting isn't great, I'm trying to work out where best to place myself so you can see everything. Right, the next point we're going to do. We need to do some more measuring. I want to measure from the bottom of the chin on this vertical line all the way up to where it meets the horizontal line. I want to measure the distance between these 2 points. Now I know roughly what it should be as we measured before, but let's measure anyway. So again, it's 8.5. So I want to make a mark halfway along this line. So I want to measure half of 8.5 is 4.25. I'm going to make a mark just there. Let me just double check that you can see this. Just there, in the middle point between the chin and the horizontal line. Have a go at doing that now, everyone, please. Now, my understanding is if I am going a little bit too quick for your sketching in your drawing, that you are able to pause the live videos and press play again once you have finished that step. I would add, I haven't tried this myself. I have not been the one watching the live lessons, being the one teaching them. So I do apologise if it ends up skipping things forward. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously you know you can pause and unpause the video as we go. So, where that point is now, we're going to draw a horizontal line going straight through the middle of that vertical measurement we've just measured. Here we are. Hold it in a good position for everyone to see. And the dot is just there. Ooh, trying to measure upside down is interesting. There we are. Next horizontal line. And the last one, last bit of measuring, we're going to measure the distance now from the chin to this middle point we measured previously. We're going to measure the distance again, and it's 4.25. So half of 4.25 is 2.125. As near as you can. Maybe go for 2.1 millimeters would be absolutely fine. And just mark that point. And once again, horizontal line that goes directly through the vertical line at the mark you have just made. There we are. You should end up with something like this. I'm just going to give them a little bit of time. I can see that on my sketch, now I've centered everything off, that one side of the oval is smaller than the other. So I'm just going to make some little corrections to my drawing whilst everything catches up. Let's have a look. No. I'm still going to end up with having a potato slightly shaved head, but that doesn't matter. And here, little bit of better shape. Maybe could do with changing ever so slightly in a few places. Now we've got our rough measurement lines. We're going to be able to draw the eyes. So We're going to draw the eyes on this first horizontal line we drew. We're going to make sure we draw one on this line, so the line is directly in the middle of the line, and we're going to do one equal distance on this side. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure an amount of centimetres from this point to this. I think, let me have a look, that I am going to make it, yes, I'm going to start my eye 1 centimetre away from the middle line. I'm going to do the same at the other side. When I draw, there's equal distance between both of the eyes. Yeah, there's one. We'll go to the other one. And there's 2. We do want the eyes to be roughly the same size. At the moment it looks a bit odd, but to start, have a go at doing the same as accurately as you can. If you aren't happy with the shape, rub them out slightly and do them again. The only thing I'm going to add is I'm just going to put points in here, the iris is in here. Here we are. Few more moments, everyone, and then we'll move on to our next step. Next, we're going to move on to drawing the nose. We're going to use the next horizontal line down. We're moving to this one, and it needs to go directly through the middle vertical line. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a curved shape for the end of the nose, just at that point in the line, first of all, please. A little bit of the nose, actually, just there. Once we've done that, we'll just add the nostrils on as well at the side. Next, I'm going to move on to having a go at drawing the mouth on this last horizontal line, like so. A few more moments and we'll move on to the next step. As the next step, we're going to be drawing our eyebrows. So I'm going to choose, move away from my 2B pencil now. I'm going to move on to using a coloured pencil. My hair is brown, so I'm choosing a brown pencil to draw my eyebrows. I'm going to start just above one of the eyes. The closer it is to the vertical line, we're going to make them a tiny bit thicker. So I'm just going to start shading now. Tiny bit thicker, and as we come across, I'm going to start making them thinner and thinner and thinner, stopping at the other end of the eye. So have a go at the other side. Here we go. Here we go. Getting thinner, thinner, thinner. And they want to be roughly the same size and shape. I think I've done one side a bit neater than the other. Have a go now, boys and girls. Shading in the eyebrows. How strange does my person look? Oh, a little bit strange, but not too strange. Next, what is going to be our next step? Next, back to the pencil. We're going to draw our ears on. We're going to start at the top of the ear from the first horizontal line, down and out the side of the side of the face, down to close to where the next horizontal line is. Oops, that must be a little bit too big. Once we've done that, we're going to have a go at drawing the hair. Obviously, your hair shape and size might be very different. I've got long flowing hair that goes this way, down to my ears, a bit shorter on this side. Once you've had a go at drawing your hair, everybody, got a little bit confused trying to draw mine upside down, but one thing we can do is once you have done that, you can start rubbing out these different guidelines that run throughout our pictures. Yeah, together a little bit more now. Have a go at rubbing out yours now if you haven't done so already. Yeah. Here, I'm going to draw my hair a little bit different. I'm going to use my coloring pencil to do so. Have a go. So, shade my hair across like this. Keep going up and up and up like that. Now, boys and girls, are you prepared to have a look at my picture? Extremely artistic, I know. The likeness is uncanny. However, let me go back to sharing my screen with you for a moment. As it was saying in the instructions, it told us to draw our hair. The shape of your hair is probably a lot different to mine. It's quite difficult for me to be drawing upside down at the same time. You'll need to rub out any of the guide markers that we've done previously. I've had a go at doing some of those, but I was in a little bit of a rush because I didn't want to make the lesson go on for too long. And after that, we need to colour in, shading if we could please, and remember details like colouring in the irises and putting the pupils in, any freckles or blemishes we may have to put those on as well. And it brings me on to the exciting part of the announcement to do with art and illustration happening here on our Facebook Live pages. As most of you know, the Facebook Live sessions are quite a new thing. They only started last week, and already we've delivered as many sessions as we've been able to fit in with the number of people we've got. All our experts from Twinkl are dying to show you what they can do. So, one of our illustrators, who is someone who has a job at Twinkl for doing all of the drawings, has agreed tomorrow to do a live lesson showing you how he does his illustrations, so you can join in and have a go at copying some of the work he does. It's all very new to him, and he is excited to show you his work, but for the time being, he's just going to show you his screen while he works, and he will talk to you as he does so to introduce himself. He's a lovely person called Ollie. Ollie's going to do one tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Next week, the art lesson, it's not going to be on a Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon is going to be baking with Zoe. We will be making sure that the Home Learning Hub has a list of all the ingredients you will need ready for next week. Zoe is also very keen to do some art and crafts activities with you, because I'm not sure if you can tell, however, I do try with my artwork, but I'm not always the best at doing it. I find I'm better at teaching things like maths, science, or phonics, things like that. But Zoe said she would be very happy to do some lessons again next week. And she actually sent me a list of things that, if we could, I'd mention today, things for you to collect for next week. In particular, it's going to be things that you can recycle. So, anything like cereal boxes, egg boxes, yogurt pots, any small containers that could be used to be cut up or stuck together or even painted to make new arts and crafts activities. Zoe has asked if you can start collecting those. That would be fantastic. So just to repeat, this time next week it will be baking instead of the art lesson with myself, and Zoe will be doing arts and crafts on a Thursday afternoon, but on Tuesdays next week Ollie will be doing illustration lessons to show you what the job of an illustrator is at Twinkl. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's art lessons. Hopefully your self-portraits are a little bit better than mine. If you do want to share any of your artwork, feel free to take a picture, send it and submit it to the Facebook page. I'd love to see any work you've been able to do. Hopefully I'll see some of you again tomorrow. That's tomorrow morning. We've got phonics with Madison at 9:30, phonics with myself at 10 o'clock, and I will be doing an upper key stage 2 maths lesson at 11 o'clock as well. And of course, as I said earlier, Ollie will be back here for the first time tomorrow afternoon to do an illustration lesson. So thank you very much for tuning in. Bye everyone.